Hi and welcome. My name is Mikael Klenissen and I am the author of the book Manipulation and the Weapon of Guilt, Collectivism Exposed. I'm going to put a link at the bottom of this video. Make sure you click on it and check out my ebook. It is absolutely free of charge at Amazon, so you can download the Kindle version for free. I've studied psychopathology about 18 and a half years now, and I specialize in Denmark, the pathology of Denmark, and exposing the lies and everything about Denmark that it is exposed, their happiness, which is a hoax. Of course, this is all well documented in my book. But in this case, it is on to Trish Regan, and I'm just going to say it like this: Trish Regan, you're right, absolutely right. Denmark is socialism. And let me, before you go a little too quick, let me quote Karl Marx. Democracy is the road to communism. Of course, Denmark is democratic socialism, but it is, of course, the delusional thing that has happened because so many other versions of socialism has gone, the Russian communism and so forth, and whatever you see around the world that has gone wrong. The unique thing about Denmark is that it's just a slower process. Denmark is, in my personal opinion, it could be, and you are most welcome to call it an arrogant opinion, because it absolutely is an arrogant opinion. I have no proof and cannot prove what I'm about to tell you, but I think within the next 20 years, it's going to be over. I mean, the pension rate goes up and up and up. I think they raised it again. I'm not entirely sure, but I know it's 69. Next time it's going to be 71, 73, 75, and go on until you're 105, and no one ever get pension anyway. That's just how it works, because there's less and less and less money. It is simply a system that slowly eats itself by the tail. Fact is that at the last election, and I don't remember which year it was 2016 or 15, no relevance to this, except for the fact that certain little statistics can, of course, vary minutely. After an election, usually if it's the right wing, which is not a right wing, it's a center left wing, that when they get the power in Denmark, they usually produce, by lowering taxes, produce 60,000 people, into job, environment. But the fact is, at the last election, statistics were published that at the private sector, 960,000 people were occupied. Whereas in the public sector, and this is where, Trish Regan said that everyone works for the government, and actually the majority does, because 1.2 million people work for the government. And the entire populace of Denmark is about 5.6 million, which means that about let's just go a little lower, but about 2.2 million people feed the other 3.3 million people. Those are facts. Other facts, and of course everything that I'm telling you, because usually the socialists want to manipulate little details and go into picketing. It's not the overall. It's the overall perspective, which is that Denmark is the highest tax country in the world. That is a fact. Of course, I only checked these statistics last in 2015. Of course, it might be the second highest tax country currently. So, of course, if the socialist or the delusional, manipulator out there wants to picketing on the little details in order to evade the facts in this video, have fun with it. Those are facts. It is the highest tax country. Should it be the second? No relevance to it anyway. You pay about 37 to 42% tax in Denmark as personal tax. And if you exceed earning more than 80,000 American dollars, then you start paying fully 68% of every earned dollar that you earned. So it's 68 cents you would give up to the government every time you earn $1, keeping only 32 freaking cent to yourself of each earned dollar if you made $80,000 in Denmark. On top of that, Denmark has a sales tax, which of course doesn't benefit the weaker people, even though socialists always, pride themselves in helping the weaker people. But of course, the sales tax, it's not actually a sales tax, it's a VAT, but I'm not going to go into these details about the difference between the systems of VAT and sales tax. There's a VAT of 25%, which of course makes it harder for the lower class, and I don't like to use that term actually, but the people that have monetary less than the rich people. So when socialists claim to be so nice and care about for the people that are poorer, then they're absolutely hypocrites by nature. But they are in general by nature and easy to even disprove in everything they do. On top of these things, there are hidden duties, fees, and so forth, and they are everywhere, everything. At a previous election, taxes were placed upon, candy and any fattening product, basically telling the entire population of Denmark that they're too stupid to understand that they should eat less fat. And actually, this was used, telling the Danes that they were too stupid, basically. Of course, this is done in manipulative ways, but basically the government told them that they were too stupid, therefore they needed to find ways to tax people more. And of course, these are the hidden duties, and for whatever taxes these people, are imposed upon. So on top of that, if or among others of these taxes is 180%, 180, yes, 180% on a car, which brings a car that would cost $20,000 in the United States, a Honda Accord, for example, is a good example, up to just about 50,000 American dollars. So when they don't tell you that you pay extreme taxes, they forget that 37 plus 42% normally. Let's just say we were just average citizens, yeah. But then you have to pay $30,000 in taxes directly to government for owning a Honda Accord. Okay, so they don't count these things into the overall perspective, which brings me to the point that Danish people, or Denmark, has the highest household debt in the Western world, which is triple, just about, unless little statistics have changed. But actually viewed them recently, and they were still the same even a year back. But they are triple that of the United States. So Trish Regan, if I'm pronouncing your name right, do not believe anything that Danes tell you whatsoever. Danes are pathological liars. My mom and dad worked their ass off their entire life. At the age of 56, for the first time, my dad could actually buy a new car. And new. Previously, he had owned pre-owned cars, always. And it was only a Honda Getz. No, not Honda, sorry. A Hyundai Getz, or whatever you pronounce it, this car like. The main point is they have a house and paid 20 years on this house. Of course, had to renovate it. Now they don't even own half the house, and they're going to spend another 20, 30 years, and at the age of their death, there is not going to be a paid off house, because now it have to be renovated again, because wages are so extremely high that it's not only hard to get a job, but in general, everything is so high that renovating your house is extreme. 25% sales tax on top of an average minimum wage and it's actually I'm quoting something wrong here, because Denmark does not have a minimum wage by law. So this is one thing where I should eat my own statement. Wrong. Denmark does not have a minimum wage by law, but unions have enforced these strict, very high salaries. And we're not talking about a guy coming here fixing your floors in your bathroom or whatever. A guy like that is paid probably 60, 70, if not $100 per hour. So, whereas the same person is probably paid about $30 in America. I'm not going to take this too far. Fact is that in America, if you want to battle these things with people in America, a single person, I don't care if it's a female or the male, but one person can sustain an entire household. In Denmark, that does not happen. There is always a need. If you have a house, 2 people must work. If you are a single parent sustaining a household, you get numerous benefits from government. There is no way you can sustain a decent household as a single parent in Denmark. So they've made the Danish people completely codependent on the government. And again, hypocritically, extreme as, VAT, which makes it hard for the people that do not have a lot of money. You cannot go out and eat like you can in America, where it's easy and decent, normal to go out into a family restaurant at least once or twice a week with your family. It does not happen in Denmark for the average family. You simply can't afford it, because what costs $10 in America per person will cost you about $50 per person in Denmark. I think that's enough for now. I'm just going to say it like this. Trish Regan, again, if I pronounce your name correctly, you are right. Not only is Denmark a shithole, but it is absolutely socialism. And let me quote Karl Marx, democracy is the road to socialism. Indeed, Denmark is democratic socialism, unless you want to refer to it as Fabian socialism, aka Hellmark, a shithole. Stay away from these people. They are worthless people, lowlifes. America, stick to your conservative ways. Not that I agree with the conservatives, but the conservative ways. America, you rock. Denmark, suck.